Golf Central on YouTube, brought to you by Apex Irons from Callaway.
Hello everybody, I'm Cara Banks with this, your Golf Central update. A memo has been sent to PGA Tour members and caddies that outlines a new potential rule that would limit the way players use yardage and green reading books. If implemented, players and caddies would only be able to use, quote, committee-approved books. While similar to a traditional yardage book, the committee-approved version will provide only general information on slopes and other features, meaning all printed books for PGA Tour tournaments from 2021 and prior cannot be used. As for green reading books, players and caddies will be allowed to make handwritten notes only if the information is derived from the experiences or observations of a ball simply rolling on a green. Well, today, a couple of PGA Tour players gave us their reaction to the new proposed rules.
We had a good meeting there at the Memorial, the PAC, and honestly, it was a unanimous decision. All 16 of us said we feel that reading greens and analyzing our surfaces is an integral part of professional golf, but golf in general. It's a skill, and we all felt that it was time for those to go, and so made the decision.
What was the dialogue like with those internal discussions to get to that point?
That was the gist. I mean, Andy and Jay asked us our thoughts, and kind of one by one we went around and we said, hey, this is a skill, this is an important part of the game, and you need to, we think it should be individual and it should be you and your caddy's work, and that was kind of it. As soon as we took the vote and found out it was unanimous, then we heard European Tour's PAC was unanimous on it too. It was pretty much a done deal at that point.
Obviously, we have the PGA Tour has a system they use with the player directors and the player advisory council to come up with something. It was something that was brought to us by the players middle of last year, that there was concern that the technology was getting pretty good, and we sort of lost the art of reading greens on the PGA Tour. And it was actually pretty simple on the player side. I mean, it was overwhelming in that meeting that the players wanted to get rid of the greens reading material. The hard part from there on was, how do you write the rule? How do you write it? How do you enforce it? And that's something we're probably going to battle through for a little bit, and we're going to have to educate the players out here on that extensively. And you know what? It's going to be a new year, and you're not going to see guys looking down at books and reading greens via a book.
How are they going to enforce it?
The rules officials are going to have to enforce it. Obviously, the integrity in this game, it shouldn't be a problem. We if the ball moves, we say something, we now replace it back. And you know what? It's one of those things. Because the technology's out there, if your book mirrors everything, you're probably cheating, and there'll be a pretty harsh penalty for that. But if you go out and do your work, and I know the guy do aim point out here, and you can put degrees in your book and sort of mark it out there, that's fine. That's what we want you guys to do. We don't want you to do your homework. But there's not going to be any material or devices be able to be on the greens during practice rounds. So everything you obtain now is going to be via your own self and own research. So there's a risk that guys will peer into that book to make sure their information is right, but I don't think people are going to be copying that. I'm hoping that they're not going to be copying that, and that's the integrity of this game, and that's what we're going to have to live with.
Well, we spoke to players this week at the PGA Tour venue in Mexico for the Worldwide Technology Championship at Mayakoba, and there are many big names who will tee it up on Thursday for the first round, including Brooks Koepka, Justin Thomas, and our defending champion Victor Hovland, who finished 5th in the FedEx Cup standings last season and will now attempt to become the first player in tournament history to win back-to-back titles. He met with the media today.
It's cool for the first time to be able to defend. Didn't get to do that at Puerto Rico last time, so I'm happy to be here. This is my 4th time playing a PGA Tour event here, and I also played the World Amateur here a few years back, so it's going to be my 5th time at this property. So it's kind of weird coming to a place where I almost feel like a veteran, since I haven't been out here very long. But I love everything about this place. The golf course is great, the weather is great, it's in really good shape, and the resort's amazing. So it's kind of like a vacation from our bad weather in Oklahoma right now, and yeah, just get to go out and have fun.
I may be going out on a little bit of a stretch here, but if you look at your first two PGA Tour wins, we've got Puerto Rico and we've got Mayakoba. Pretty exotic first two titles to have on your resume there. Is there something about, again, it may be a stretch, but maybe just a little bit more of a relaxed setting with Puerto Rico and Mexico that could give you maybe some good vibes?
Yeah, there could be for sure. You know, you have plenty of things where you can kind of not think about golf. You go to the beach and you eat good food, and you know, there's plenty of other people to hang out with. So it's it's a good setup. I think it's also too with the green types out here. The paspalum grass I've seen to putt well at. You know, it's a bit slower usually than what we see on every other week on tour. And I think that's helped me just with where kind of I've grown up. In Norway, we have flatter and slower greens, and that just kind of sets up better for me here this week.
Okay, and one final question for me, and then we'll take a few questions from folks. Just some thoughts on your game coming into the week, what you're feeling good about. You're making your third start this season, coming off the top 20 of the CJ Cup. So just some kind of assess the state of your game heading into the week.
Yeah, I feel like I've been playing well the last few months. Played really well at TPC Summerlin, but had some struggles around the greens, and that carried over to Summit as well the week after. So I felt like I played a lot better than my results showed those 2 weeks. But that's kind of how this game goes. I feel like I'm putting really well, and I've made some strides around the greens. So yeah, if I can just kind of keep hitting the ball like I usually do, I should be able to make some birdies this week.
Okay, all right. Well, with that, we'll take a few questions, and we'll start with Sean Martin with PGAtour.com. Sean, go ahead.
Hello. What's the biggest difference between you now and you leaving here a year ago?
Wow, that's a good question. I'd say I'm a bit more seasoned. I've got a bit more experience. Played a few more major championships, being a part of a Ryder Cup. I just feel like I have a better understanding of myself and my own game, and just being kind of comfortable doing what I'm doing. Even though I haven't maybe put myself in as many places to win tournaments since then as I maybe would have liked, but I feel like I'm definitely handling the pressure in the moment a lot better, because I remember last year I was so nervous coming down the stretch. Now I was still able to pull it off, but I was really nervous, and I feel like now I'm handling that a lot better.
Was there a time in the last year where that gave you that realization, where you realized you were less nervous than you would have been earlier in your career?
I can't remember the exact moment. I think it's an evolving kind of process. You know, some weeks you feel more nervous, some other weeks you feel less nervous. I think it's all dependent on, you know, your game.
We look forward to seeing how Victor and the rest of the field progress when our coverage begins from Mayakoba at 3 p.m. on Thursday.